Hi, so I'm in a new area, but this is not the permanent address. We are staying with my brother and his family. They graciously are hosting us, and it's been fantastic. I just wanted to come on here and tell you, give you an update, and also thank you for watching my videos and watching the progress. I've been on the carnivore diet for 2.5 years, and things have changed, of course. That's just natural progression. And here's are some things that I've learned along the way, and some things that the dog is walking by, things that have helped me, things I've learned, and what to expect and what didn't work, what hasn't worked, that kind of thing. So the first thing I want to know is if you are considering the carnivore diet. Are you on the carnivore diet? Are you doing a version of whatever that means for you? So for me, the carnivore diet is really just the keto diet, but it's a strict version. If you think of it as a spectrum, over here is low carb or animal based, and over here on the other side is strict, carnivore, it's just meat, salt, and water. When I very first started out, I was so sick and desperate and kind of scared. So I did start with just beef, salt, and water. But I broke one rule. I've never eliminated coffee. So I never have. After 2 weeks on the Lion diet, I shifted into like beef, butter, bacon, eggs. Actually, I didn't eat bacon or pork for the first 90 days. So I was just basically doing hamburger patties, ground beef, and eggs. And I did that for, almost 90 days, right? And then I did progressively add in more food. Now, since it's been 2.5 years, my body is healed. I no longer have headaches every other day. I don't have all over body inflammation. My brain fog has cleared. I have mental clarity. I have energy. I sleep well. And I did lose about 50 pounds. Now I didn't start here and lose like that. Most people don't lose that way. The first year, I did a lot of challenges and thought in my brain, okay, let me get to this date. And then this is what's gonna happen. There's gonna be a holiday in there, a wedding shower. 2 years ago, my son got married, and those types of things. And how can I get through each day? And it's very challenging in the beginning when you start any new habit. So I just kept making the decisions every day. Sometimes it was hour to hour, and I thought, well, maybe I could eat a couple eggs. And there's lots of different ways to eat eggs, and they're pretty cheap and they're versatile. I did get tired of ground beef, just loose ground beef, crumbled up. So we tried different things. I never liked eating meat. I didn't eat a lot of meat, especially not, hamburgers or steaks. So I did start eating steak, and that changed, and that got better, and it got easier every single day. So I've had, I had a plateau for about 2 to 3 months. The first year I was doing carnivore, I didn't lose any weight, but I was really keeping my inflammation low, and I was learning by making, small decisions. Oh, that doesn't work for me, or this does, and coffee does work for me. So 2.5 years later, it looks a lot different than it did in the beginning. So I do want to know if you are thinking of carnivore, considering any kind of, so leave me your questions in the comments of what you want me to address in my next video. And again, thanks for coming back and watching these videos. It means a lot to me. I love your comments. Thank you for putting your comments in there. And I respond to all the comments. It means a lot. It helps me, tell my experience, which really I just started making videos about the carnivore diet after 90 days. And I couldn't believe that all of these improvements were happening, and I was getting so much better. I was feeling so much better. And that is one of the things that sustains me and keeps me going back to beef, butter, bacon, eggs, that kind of thing. The first 1.5 years, I did my lab work consistently, and it improved really pretty quickly. That's another thing that I have learned. Our bodies are so resilient. They don't want to be sick. They don't want to be unhealthy. They want to get back to a place of healing and health, optimum health. So I was pre-diabetic before I started the carnivore diet, and within 3 months I was within a normal range or a healthy range. I don't remember what it was. All my metabolic health markers improved. I never had trouble with blood pressure regulation, so my blood pressure is, pretty low. I have some videos on my lab work. I've had 2 CAC, the coronary artery calcium CT scans, and they have both come back at 0. So that, that gives me a feeling of confidence that, I'm doing the things that are making me the healthiest I can be. And I feel great. If I do have some symptoms, if I start to have symptoms, I can think, okay, well, maybe it was something, did I have too much caffeine yesterday? Possible, that's always a possibility. Or did I have a lot of dairy? I've gone back and forth on having things in my diet that, I'm just making these decisions and switching around, because the best feedback you get is from food, and you get almost immediate feedback, and you can make your choices from that. But eliminating sugar, eliminating carbs, I did eliminate plants besides the coffee because it's a bean. But, I did eliminate fruits and vegetables, which was not a difficult choice for me because I didn't grow up eating them. So I never really, missed them. Sometimes I'd be like, oh yeah, a cucumber sounds good. But it's not something that, really bothers me or doesn't trigger me. Now, if, in the future, if I want to eat, like a cucumber salad, because I don't like tomatoes, but I might do that. I might try that, because that is not going to derail me this many months, this many years later. So the second year was really about, making tweaks with, my stage in life, my age, my situation, and making the best choices, managing and coping with stress in a healthy way, instead of, being triggered to eat something or consume something mindlessly to numb that feeling. I worked on those habits, and I worked on my sleep. My sleep really has gotten so much better. I fall asleep, I stay asleep. I've had to do tweaks, like I said, with like hormone regulation, because, my age and stage of life. So, but I'm constantly learning, and what works for me might not work for you. And, what works for my husband, Dale, doesn't, necessarily work for me, and vice versa. I am very much an abstainer, so I do best if I don't have it at all. And that has kind of shifted too. So, I don't have cravings. I don't have mood swings. I don't have blood sugar spikes. I'm pretty even keel, and I manage. We've been in a very stressful stage of life, moving back to Indiana, where we grew up in Indiana, lived in Tennessee for 9 years and moved back. And it was a roller coaster. Even just the last few days, it's been, a roller coaster, but it's working out, and we have family, and we do it together. And so I just center my food choices around beef, butter, bacon, eggs, for the most part, some chicken. One of the best things is my brother, my sister, and their family. My brother and sister are carnivore, so that makes it really easy. That makes it great, because if they weren't, that might be a struggle. We're staying with them and, having all these things, but we're doing life together, and that's such a blessing and such a gift. Go ahead and subscribe if you are enjoying my content. I really appreciate it. Give it a like, thumbs up, comment, and I will see you next time. Thanks again. Bye.